You're listening to DBK, and this is Heritage Radio 90.6 FM, and you know what to expect when it's DBK, random but coherent, all over the place but in the same place at the same time. This is going to be a kaleidoscope, a flying into the eye of the storm of controversial topics that you're not going to hear anywhere else. Kinda, sort of, actually, because I am reading from I am going to be taking excerpts from an article today that has been sent in by one of our regular listeners. Do, of course, feel free to send in your links to me, and do check out our archive on YouTube. So check out anything that you're not sure of. There'll probably be a link on the archive that'll show you the detail, the gubbins behind what is being talked about. So that's what you need to do. So what am I talking about today? You know, I think you guys know a lot of what I talk about is this strange world of fake gurus, you might say. There's a brilliant series that has been aired recently on BBC Radio 4, and I'm probably going to do a piece on that soon, but it's all about the rise of the gurus and how you go on Instagram and YouTube and this and that, and you're bombarded by gurus and their help, their ability to give you advice, guidance in life. They will show you the light where you are currently in the dark, all that kind of jazz. And who is one of the how would you say, one of the main characters on this stage of gurus? And that would be, one of the people at least would be Russell Brand. Of many, it's not just him, there's many, but he is a prominent person who people go to for news. Here's the interesting part. He used to be a darling of the left. People that were fighting the wars in Iraq, or the certain conflicts where a lot of Muslim populations were being oppressed. Russell Brand spoke up on behalf of the oppressed, and he was very insightful, incisive, witty, amazing character overall. No one else like him on the planet, definitely, right? Okay, so he went from being a darling of the left, anti-racist, anti-Islamophobic, very progressive minded, and kind of did, according to a lot of thinkers, he's done a 180, according to people like George Monbiot, who George Monbiot is a well-regarded journalist and writer, very, very well-regarded, I should say. And okay, so people like George Monbiot and others kind of say, wait, this is, he's basically done a 180. He's gone from being a darling of the left and being a champion of the oppressed, anti-racist, anti-Islamophobic, and now, according to George Monbiot and others, he's kind of cozying up to the far right, going on the podcasts of people on the far right, and it's strange, to some people. Like it's quite a strange turn of events, and so this is a bit of an explanation about why or how. Like, how does that even happen? Let's not forget the elephant in the room. Anyone that is that has spent 5 minutes on YouTube will know the name Christopher Hitchens, a very famous anti-Islamic character who was very, very vociferously against Islam. And people forget that a long time ago, he used to be a darling of the left, went to America, became a darling of the right. So, I mean, this isn't phenomenologically new. This is like, it's not new. There are plenty of precedents for it. But let's jump into Russell Brand. To anyone, again, who doesn't know, who's just tuned in, he is a very famous comedian, very, very famous, and very witty, very funny, and at one point was a darling of the left. So we're going to jump into this. Russell Brand's hero status amongst a prominent section of the British left began on Friday the 13th September 2013. Officially, it came to an end pretty much a couple of weeks ago at the time of recording. So, around March 2023, almost 10 years ago. On both occasions, the medium was The Guardian. The 2013 moment came when he wrote for the paper, giving his side of the story after being kicked out of GQ Awards events for making a joke about the Hugo Boss fashion label and its historic links to Nazis. Just shy of 10 years later, the paper columnist George Monbiot, do you remember that guy I mentioned? Very famous, very well-regarded journalist and writer. He last week published Mea Culpa, which basically means kind of like an apologetic, oh, Lord have mercy, I was wrong, sort of thing, for having once been an advocate for Brand. He had nominated the comedian as his hero in 2014, saying he was the best thing that had happened to the left in years. That was typical of Brand's status in that quarter. In the years following the column, he did celebrity cameos in the Guardian News, wrote further columns, guest edited the New Statesman, and was invited onto Newsnight, no less, twice. Owen Jones, again a left-leaning, progressive, anti-racist, anti-Islamophobic sort of character, suggested that Brand's backing might help swing the 2015 general election in Ed Miliband's favour. Even the usually reliable, let me say it again, even the usually reliably combative Jeremy Paxman seemed smitten, lapsing into Brand speak to ask him why he couldn't be bleep to vote. So let's see. In denouncing Brand last week, Monbiot was kind of articulating a wider disenchantment that people feel towards Russell Brand. The man that they once saw as a potential saviour has instead become a bit of a prominent conspiracy theorist. Check out his YouTube channel and look at what he says for yourself. He kind of spouts, according to The Spectator, all manner of often dangerous nonsense to his millions of YouTube followers, an unpalatable UK equivalent of the Joe Rogan Show, with whom he regularly consorts. So it's no wonder that Monbiot was embarrassed. How could he and his colleagues have fallen for him in the first place? So, right, Brand's backstory when The Guardian first took him on was that he'd been an MTV presenter, became addicted to drugs, but was now clean and doing comedy. But why didn't? But he didn't say. He didn't say, and they didn't notice. He was glaringly obvious all along. This reality was that he was replaced. That he had replaced the quest for the next chemical high with a craving for attention. We're going to carry on with this really soon. This is basically, if you've just joined us, it's a breakdown on The Spectator, from The Spectator on Russell Brand, a very famous comedian from the left who used to be a champion of anti-Islamophobic, anti-racist and anti-oppressive rhetoric, and was a darling of the left, and suddenly has switched and become a darling of the right. So that's what we're talking about today. You're listening to DBK. I'm going to be back very soon after just a couple of messages. Stay tuned. This is a ongoing theme that I do talk about, gurus and fake gurus, and how after there is almost like like there's a battle for spirituality happening right now for the hearts and minds of people, and gurus are trying to fill in that space by offering their advice. Here's where we try and debunk some of the myths. You're listening to DBK here, Heritage Radio 90.6 FM. You're listening to DBKE, and this is Heritage Radio 90.6 FM. If you can hear a little bit of chomping, that is Insa Hack. Do you know what? A quick mention to the Eid event that we had here on the grounds. Absolutely rammed. That grass is decimated, but it's in the name of something very positive and very successfully executed. Wow, it's brilliant.
I know. But I've come at the end of the day and it looks around.
Yeah.
My God, what would it look at the peak?
It was, something else. Really hard work from the team at the BMHC. So it's something to check. You know, there'll be loads of stuff on the Instacracks and Instagrams and Facebooks and Facegrams.
Social media.
Social media, that's the one. Thank you very much. Right, and so check out the stuff and check out the hard work that has been put in by the team to undertake what I can only describe as a resounding success. Wow. Right, yeah, okay. You're listening to Heritage Radio 90.6 FM. If you want to give us a call, 01618832255. If you want to message us, 07751939396. And do email us. I'm not going to get the email address out because it's too much. You find it on the internet. That's what the internet was made for. And yeah, do that. Goodbye.
This is Heritage Radio.